really beautiful. It's just a
Yeah,
beautiful thing. And I think people are willing to share.
they definitely are. Absolutely. And so, gosh, there's so much. Like, this is such a good conversation. I love talking to you, and there's so many questions I still want to ask. I definitely want to find out just throughout your journey in building your business, is there anything now looking back with where you are today that you would really do differently? Or I guess what I want to say is like any major, learning lessons that you've had through this journey.
Well, we've basically been describing them as I confidently say how important it is to
Yeah.
get help.
Yes.
So looking back, I think I could have learned that lesson earlier, which is why I'm so enthusiastically sharing it now. Is that yes, of course, being a mom who raised three kids, I did feel like I needed to do it all. I felt overwhelmed at a lot of times until I started to catch on that you needed to look around you and find ways to collaborate with other people.
Mm.
Uh, and I did that exactly how you said. I started signing up for classes for coaching. I'm a certified coach, and I also used coaches. Signed up for training programs for success. I'm a CCA. I'm a Jack Canfield certified trainer,
Mhm.
success principles trainer. I loved Jack's book from the beginning and incorporate that in my business. I do mastermind group. I hold them and I also attend them and have had accountability partners over the years. But looking back, when all of that was lacking, there was overwhelm, there was not as much success, there was not as much fun. And until I really got on to the train that we're talking about today, that, that really is the train to success.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, I definitely am not going to ask you the question then about investing in yourself through mentors and masterminds, because I mean, you clearly stated that, but it is so incredibly important, and it has up leveled. I know it's up leveled me in so many different ways. So definitely recommend that as well. Now,
I agree.
yeah, and so I'm wondering, what do you see as an advantage to being specifically a beautiful feminine creature in business, a woman in business?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. Um, Interestingly, I think that I adore being a woman and bringing my divine feminine to light into the world. And I've never really thought of it in terms of being an advantage over, being not being a woman.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would just, that question just makes me think of the feminine styles that I adore, which are collaboration,
Yes.
community,
Yeah.
circles, sharing, supporting, all of those things. My whole business life has been filled with that. And so, because I have not been, I've been an entrepreneur and I haven't been a part of a corporate structure that might not have all of those elements.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that the advantage to me being a woman and being an artist and having an entrepreneurial business is that I adore doing collaborative, community supportive networking business. So
Mm. Yes, that definitely speaks to the feminine. Love it, love it, love it. Now, would you say that, or do you have any specific rituals or spiritual practices that you do to keep you in this creative flow state, I'll call it?
oh, I love that question. Yeah, I would say that my when I express my life purpose or my business mantra, It's really, supporting women to empower themselves and build their creative courage through writing, art, and ritual. And
Mm.
that's, written on my vision board. It's written in my office wall. It's written in my studio. And it's definitely a big part of my book, The Spiral of Creativity. So every single chapter in that book has some kind of art activity, some kind of writing activity, and some kind of a ritual. And again, that speaks to that. Last week, I was talking about depth psychology and about how symbolism
Yeah.
and imagery really speaks a language that's, kind of the soul language. And ritual does as well. And if you look at any of the major religions, I was raised Catholic,
Hmm.
I mean, talk about ritual. So I think that ritual is really important. And I have lots of different rituals that I do. Something as simple as just I have a little reminder up at my studio that says breathe, center, enter. So
Breathe,
to
center, enter.
yeah, to
Ooh.
just to stop, take a breath, and say I'm working. I'm kind of to honor my studio as the sacred space that it is. So very simple little ritual there. I also have done many times in my studio. I have this kind of alarming to some people metal snake that was something that came from my grandmother's house. And when I hold groups at my studio, I put the snake out in front of the door, and
Hmm.
everyone has to step over it. And the snake, can symbolize a lot of things, but for a lot of people, it symbolizes, a fear.
Mm.
And so one of the beautiful rituals I love to do is just to have people to just call on their courage and to step over the snake, to go into the studio, and then we bring the snake in and kind of reframe it as like a symbol of healing and power. So those are a
That
couple of my favorite rituals.
that's quite incredible because I was listening to you talk about it and I'm like, is that really it sounds like that's literally the uh, symbol or the feeling, I guess, that you wanted people to get when seeing the snake. It was a
Yeah,
matter of overcoming
right,
what tends to
right,
be a fear.
right.
Wow, how cool. You're like, first you're gonna
Uh,
step over it, and then we're gonna bring it in and call it in closer to us and frame it in a different way, which goes back
yeah,
to our earlier conversation. It might have been on last week's show. They're running together right now, but how we talked about like the boulders. I think it was on last week's show, and finding creative ways or different perspectives or lenses of which to look through.
yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, um, I mean, before we leave symbols, so my book, The Spiral of Creativity, actually uses the spiral. And I think that a lot of people, it's a very archetypal symbol
Yes.
for a lot of different things, for human growth. But I use it for spiraling inward to really access our own inner authentic knowledge, and then spiraling outward to shine our light. And so every chapter in the book has a big spiral at the end of it, and an activity that you do that uses the spiral. So, I think that these are really important things to just notice what images and symbols we respond to.
Absolutely. Yeah, what it evokes from us. So, speaking of the book, I know we have just a little bit of time left. Please let the lovely listeners know how they can get a hold of you and any offer you have for them so they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would love them to visit www.womenswovenvoices.com so they can learn about the collaborative art project and participate. And then The Spiral of Creativity, Mastering the Art of a Spirited Life is available on Amazon. And if anyone wants to contact me at Brecia, BRECIAKL, at gmail.com. I would be happy to send them a copy of my book at a discounted price. It's listed on Amazon at $12.95, but I would be happy to send it to them for the $10 as a gift today.
Brecia, beautiful name, beautiful spirit. Thank you. Definitely, guys, go check it out. And again, if you missed last week's show, she talked about this project she's doing. It's quite incredible. And I would love to have anybody feeling inspired to support her with that. And if you want to find out more about me, head over to my website, jillianbeth.love. You can find out how to connect with me there. And as always, just thank you so much for hanging out with us again today. My desire is for all of you to be living your soul's purpose. Thanks, Brecia.
Oh, thanks so much, Jen.